I was an undergrad. At SMU, I went to SMU Law School, and that's where I found my passion for criminal justice issues. Actually, that passion I didn't realize it at the time. I think I didn't know what it was at the time when I was an undergrad, but I had studied psychology and eyewitness issues, and I wanted to work in the community. I wanted to make changes in the community, and I wanted to help people. So I went to law school, and I found my passion for criminal law, for criminal justice. And when I was there, I started realizing that there was so much need in our community for reform, for defending people, for advocating for people. When I graduated from law school, I wanted to become a prosecutor, but at the time it wasn't in the cards for me. So I started my own firm, and I represented people doing criminal defense. Then I joined a criminal defense law firm in town, and they basically taught me post-conviction work, appellate work, and trial work on the state and federal levels. And while I was there, I worked on many, many cases that were from tickets all the way up to death penalty cases. So that's where I learned the ropes in criminal law. And then I was fortunate enough to meet the first assistant at the time of the Dallas County District Attorney's Office. Actually, it was here where I met her. And I told her that I wanted to work as a prosecutor, and at that time Craig Watkins was the elected DA. And she said, "Why would you want to leave that criminal law firm that you work at? They're top notch." And I said, "Because I've always wanted to be a prosecutor. I wanted to help people in that way as well." And she said, "You know, you have the qualifications. If you want to work at the DA's office, go ahead and make your application, and you can work in the appellate division." So I started working doing appeals when I was there. And then I joined, different parts of the team. And in 2010, because I was working on a death penalty case, and the supervisor of the Conviction Integrity Unit was very impressed with the type of work that I did. He asked me if I wanted to become a member of the Conviction Integrity Unit. If you haven't heard of the Conviction Integrity Unit, I will tell you that I am so proud of that unit in the District Attorney's Office. It handles cases of actual innocence and wrongful convictions, and I've been a part of that unit since 2010. At the time, I had to resign in December, my post, to run for judge. But I will tell you that during that time period that I was in Conviction Integrity, and I led that unit since 2017, there were 35 exonerations of that unit. And those cases, thank you, people who were wrongfully convicted in Dallas County, who were innocent of their cases, they were able to be set free. Ms. Alonso, her son, Quentin, was one of the cases that I worked on. I love you guys. You move me all the time in my heart. I want to become a judge, to have the next step in my career, to bring all the knowledge that I have and all the experience that I have to the bench, so that people have a judge who is fair, who has experience, and who has compassion and understands people. On both sides of the aisle, I have the experience as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney to bring all that information to the bench. I want to change criminal justice. I have been involved in criminal justice reform efforts for a long time. I have been involved in changing the law down in Austin through our district attorney, John Cruzo, who has allowed us as prosecutors to make suggestions for laws to be changed. And we can go down there to Austin and advocate for these changes. Terry Mesa knows how important it is for that to happen, criminal justice reform efforts to happen. And I've been instrumental in getting those things done. In Texas, I'm also nationally recognized. People call upon me for my experience to teach them how to run conviction integrity units, how to establish them, how to do this kind of work, and they call on me to help them with criminal justice reform efforts in their states. I have gone to the legislature virtually to testify as a resource witness in another state to help them establish criminal justice reform efforts, because we need people who understand that our criminal justice system is good, but it could be better and it needs to be changed and move forward. For the people who, para la gente que prefiere escuchar en español, yo me llamo Cintia Garza, estoy corriendo para juez, soy candidata para la Corte 363, 363. Es aquí en el condado de Dallas. Si usted vive aquí en el condado de Dallas, puede votar por mí, por favor. Les pido que se informen. Yo les he dado unos información, se diga así. Si no lo tiene y lo quiere obtener, por favor me avisan, les puedo dar información. Yo era agente fiscal con la fiscalía aquí en Dallas, bajo diferentes fiscales. Lo más reciente es John Chorizo, que es el fiscal actual. Yo también he tenido experiencia siendo defensora, defendiendo personas que son acusados de delitos menores hasta delitos agravados. Y les estoy pidiendo por su voto y para que le digan a todas sus familias que vayan a votar. Las votaciones tempranas empiezan el 17 de febrero hasta el 27 de febrero y la elección va a ser el 3 de noviembre. Pero salgan a votar temprano. Pongan en su calendario empezando el 17 de febrero, por favor. Díganle a toda su familia, a sus vecinos, a todo el mundo que vayan a votar, por favor. Es muy, muy importante que tengamos representación en las cortes, gentes que saben nuestra cultura, nuestra gente. Y les pido, por favor, que se recuerden ir a votar. Please mark your calendars for early voting. It's February 17th through the 27th. The election is on March 3rd. So please put that in your calendars. Please go vote early. Tell everybody that you know, your friends, your neighbors, your family, to go vote. And if you don't have my flyer, I'll be glad to drop one off for you. Thank you so much. And one more thing, to the young ladies over at Irma Rangel. I used to coach mock trial at Irma Rangel. And you guys, I know that you guys don't know me, I coached a while back, but I'm so proud of everything that you guys do. Y'all are a top-notch school, and you guys are great, great students at Irma Rangel. Thank you so much for being here.
Cynthia, thanks for coming here, and I'm gonna...
Microphone right here, Rick.
I'm going to ask you a kind of a tough question. I hope it's not too tough, but there are some new state laws that have gone into effect recently that were just passed by the legislature involving Texas involvement with immigration. Can you talk to us about what you perceive that impact of those laws would be here in Texas, if at all, in Dallas?
Okay, I'm not exactly sure what particular ones you're talking about, but I will talk in general. So in general, there are, obviously a judge has to follow the laws that are in place. So a judge really doesn't have the power to change that, has to follow the law. So as a judge, I would follow the law however it is. I will say that people who are involved in the criminal justice system have to have their day in court. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in due process. So that is something that is the law of the land, and I do believe in that. So that's my answer to that. For the record?
You know, the one Supreme Court. Some of these are being obviously appealed, headed up to the Supreme Court, particularly redistricting is one that comes to mind. But also, of course, like the right of everybody born here to have nationality. And I think all those are very important that affect all of the special community. But I think as the administration changes, LULAC, we have about 4 major lawsuits that are headed to the Supreme Court. They're either at the 5th Circuit, there's a lot of them emanate out of the state of Texas. And so, but we have to stick with it, and hopefully that the Supreme Court will do their job. That's all I have to say. Any other questions? Thank you very much, Judge. One more? Great, good. Hey, get the microphone.
Hey, Cynthia, correct me if I'm wrong on these 2 points. You're one of the only bilingual felony candidates currently, and you're also one of the only Latina female experts that talks about what you've done in your experience across the country. Is that right?
That's correct, yes, that is true.
Thank you very much, Judge. It's also a great honor to bring to the fore Judge Hector Garza, who's our own Oak Cliffer, born and raised here, went to school here, went on and continued his education, the children of immigrants like many of us, and he did study in Arlington and received his law degree from SMU Federal School of Law, where he participated in the criminal justice clinic representing indigenous defendants. Judge Garza has devoted his entire career to criminal law, serving as both the prosecutor and defense attorney. He joined the Dallas County District Attorney's Office in 2005, but he became one of the first Latino assistant district attorneys to serve as a trial court chief and the first Latino prosecutor promoted to super chief. And practiced law by the Supreme Court of Texas and the Supreme Court of the State. I bring to you Judge Tocayo.
Buenos dias. Good morning. Good morning. So, I've been the judge of the 195th Judicial District Court since 2016. A lot of you here gathered at State Fair Park when the precinct chairs gathered there on that special election and nominated me to be the Democratic nominee that year. Judge Tinsley had retired early, so the precinct chairs gathered there, voted to get nominated. There was about 11 of us, and many of you were there, so that could be to be the judge of the 195th. And then I was elected in 2016. But, so why did I become a judge? I just wanted to help people. I mean, I've been blessed beyond measure in my life. As Mr. Flores here said, I did grow up in Oak Cliff. My parents came to this country from Mexico. I was born and raised here in Oak Cliff. Many years, we used to go to Santa Cecilia to school. We used to come shop around here. But we never stopped and ate in this restaurant. I didn't come here until probably I was in, I don't know, maybe college or something. Because my parents didn't have a whole lot of money. Combined, I think they were making like $20,000. My dad was pretty much like a janitor at a company, and my mom was a seamstress. I had brothers, me and my brother. So we grew up, one of the things is, this journey started a long time ago for me, like wanting to be a judge, wanting to help people. Not really wanting to be a judge, but wanting to help people. And it just led me to the bench. So as a Spanish speaker, I didn't start speaking English until I was in 5th grade. So around that time, my parents didn't speak Spanish, so they would ask me to interpret documents, mortgage letters, like many of us here, right? We were interpreters for our parents. We were negotiators for our parents. And all of a sudden, the neighbors wanted to do it, the tios, the tias, they wanted me to, interpret stuff for them. So I kind of was helping people. I was doing pretty good in school. I wasn't always the best student. I went to Stockard middle school. Then I went to Grider. Like I said, I wasn't the best student, but I did try. So I started off going to Skyline High School because I wanted to be a mechanic. And Skyline was kind of a big school. There was a lot of my friends were dropping out in high school, becoming parents themselves. And so Skyline didn't kind of work out for me. And then I went to Duncanville High School. And that's where I started. I didn't know anything about lawyers. I didn't know anything about doctors. I didn't know anything about professionals. But when I went to Duncanville High School, it took me out of my environment. Because I wanted to go to Skyline because everybody around me wanted to be a mechanic, wanted to work on cars. So that's when I went to automotive cluster. So went to Duncanville High School, started meeting other kids whose parents were lawyers and doctors. And so I was making good grades too. I was like, why can't I do that? So I started, it kind of expanded my horizons. And at that point, I was doing pretty good. A couple years ago, like I was at the courthouse, a janitor lady was like, hey, do you remember me? And I was like, no, not really. And she's like, well, you remember you used to help my brother with his homework, you know, so, because the kids started asking me for help with their homework, because I was doing pretty good at some math. I was really good at math. But anyway, so went to, first in my family to graduate high school. I graduated Duncanville High School. I didn't really know anything about college. I had to navigate my way through it. Just, my counselor wasn't a whole lot of help. But I went to SMU and I realized to do the campus visit, it was like $12,000 a semester. And I was like, well, my parents make $20,000. How am I gonna go here for $12,000? So I went to UTA at the time. It was $600 to go there. So I was like, okay, I'll work and go to school. And so that's what I did. By my sophomore year, I actually went all around Oak Cliff, dropped off resumes because we didn't have email anymore. But I dropped off my resumes to all the law firms here in the Oak Cliff area. Richard Carazales called me back. I felt like if I'm going to be a defense attorney, I need to know my training. I need to work with them. I need to understand what I'm getting myself into. So I did that. Then, at that point, I went to SMU Law School. I did wind up going to SMU, and that's where I graduated from SMU. I started off I was going to be a criminal defense attorney, and then next thing you know, they called me up, and the DA's office offered me a position. I did intern with the DA's office, domestic violence court, and I was an interpreter for everybody, because there's a lot of Spanish-speaking victims out there. So I got to see what it was like. And then I really thought about it. Do I really want to go work at the DA's office? So at the time I was working with this prominent law firm. They're like, hey, if you want to be a good defense attorney, you need to go work at the DA's office for at least about a year to 2 years so you can kind of know how to try cases. Now, so I did that. I already knew how to kind of try cases. I've been involved with the criminal justice system for a while now. So at that point, I went to intern with the DA's office. And like I said, I've been blessed I've just been blessed in my life. So at this point, I got hired. Craig Watkins was elected in 2007. He got to see my work. He got to see the way I, handled my cases. I always felt like I'm going to do the right thing. It doesn't matter whether the administration agrees with me or not. Because I always know that you get fired for anything that you do, but it's got to be right for you in your heart. So at this point, Craig Watkins saw that. Mr. Watkins saw that, and he elevated me to the first Latino. I became the first trial court chief, and then the first Latino super chief, one of his top 8 prosecutors in the office. And at that point in 2016, that's when I was there. I had I did some defense work in the process in 2009 and 2016 as well. And in 2016 when I took the bench. Now, I don't take that vote that happened in 2016 by the precinct chairs for granted. I don't take Mr. Flores' support, your support, for granted. So I carry with me all the people that came before me. Domingo Garcia, he may not remember, but I interviewed him when I was in high school because the teacher said, go interview someone you want to be, in your profession. So I interviewed him. And, he inspired me, like, if he did it, I can do it, in a positive way. So when you're asking, when these candidates come up, when these people come up, why are you running for this? What have you done? I'm a district court judge. I have my job from 9 to 4:30, and I can keep it at that. I don't have to do anything else. I comply with what I've been elected to do. But do I stop there? No, I don't. I run an adult drug court, divert court. I've been doing this for 8 years. I don't get paid extra for it. It's Tuesday from 4:30 to about 8:30, time that I'm away from my wife, from my 2 boys. And I do that because that's part of my community. I lost friends to drugs and gangs, so I want to give back to my community. I've saved the county hundreds of thousands of dollars because they don't pay me for that. And I've been doing it for free for 8 years. But most important is I've saved hundreds of lives by giving these individuals drug treatment. That's the most important thing. What are we doing to make our community safer? Are we going above and beyond our courtroom? One of the things that inspired me, or that made me feel like I could become a lawyer and help people and continue to help people, was seeing other people like me. So I do a lot of interns. I go talk to high schoolers. I go talk to elementary schools, college, all types of students, because I want to show them that, you know, Hector Garza from Oak Cliff, who didn't speak English since in the 5th grade, made it to be a lawyer, and then now is a judge. He's been doing it for 9 years. That's inspirational, and that's what we want more people to see that. So it doesn't just stop there. I want to set an example for my boys. I've got a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old. And, you know, some days they're like, hey, Dad, are you going to take us to soccer practice? And, you know, it was about, my little one was about 5, and the other one was about 7. And it was a Tuesday, and Tuesday's my court, and I stay late. And the little one's like, Dad, can you take us to the park to play soccer? And then my 7-year-old's like, Dad, I mean, he's like, Stan, Dad's got court tonight, he's helping people, so we'll go. And I was like, so that to me is like they're listening, they're seeing what we're doing, and I want them to become productive members of our community who care about our community and are going to give back. Now, I say all these things because I am running for re-election. You know, I am running for re-election. I do have an opponent. Hopefully I'll win your support. But also I want you to know that these are things that I'm being recognized for. I don't do these things for recognition. I think a lot of us don't do it, but in the process comes a recognition. So 2025 this year, the Dallas Hispanic Foundation awarded me the Amanecer award for having interns in my court every year. I've been awarded the 2025 Best Court Staff by the Dallas Bar Association this year. In 2023, my divert court, we got the Outstanding Specialty Court from the Texas Association of Specialty Courts. I have been awarded the Mexican American Bar Association awarded me the Mazo de Oro. Those are all the things that, again, you know, those are things that people are recognizing. When you do good things, they recognize from you, and they want to award you those things. One of the things that I never really, you know, thought I'd be at this point. I mean, that I'd be to the point where I was like in this position. As a matter of fact, I ran into a friend of mine a few years ago. He told me, he's like, Hector, what are you doing here? I was in my suit and everything, and I was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, what do you mean? Carlos is like, well, what are you doing here? I was like, well, I work here. And he goes, what do you do? And I was like, at the time I was a prosecutor. I was like, no, I'm a prosecutor. And he was a delivery guy. He wasn't there in trouble or anything like that. I was like, what? And he goes, you're a prosecutor? And I was like, yeah, I'm a prosecutor. He's like, well, people like us, we don't grow up to be lawyers. You know, congratulations. But see, it's a mindset because we don't see it enough. We don't see it enough. So we got to put it out there. We got to continue to work with our youth. And the Irma Rangel students, you know, they're here. They're going to hear from a lot of people, a lot of candidates, a lot of opportunities. The young lady who said she wanted to be in the medical field, why don't you know, be a doctor? Why not you, right? Why not you? And I was also, this year, 2026, I'm going to be recognized by the SMU Graduate School of Law as the Distinguished Alumni Award, which is, it's the highest award that law school gives to its alumni. But again, I'm seeking re-election. I do have an opponent. You know, if you can contribute any amount of money, it's an expensive campaign. It's judgehectorgarza.com. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your support from years. I remember being involved with LULAC when I was at UTA. I would come down and Griner and mentor some of the students there across the hall from what used to be the 7-Eleven when I was there. So, but thank you for having me. Enjoy it. Thanks. Questions?
I have a question for you. You remember Miss Carlo?
I remember Miss Carlo. So Miss
Very well, and her husband.
Yeah, so Ms. Carlo was a first grade teacher. It's a small world, So Ms. Carlo was a first grade teacher at Little O'Donnell Elementary, and that's elementary school that I went to. And then her husband, you know, fast forward like 30, 20 years later, or something like that, her husband is the public defender at the courthouse where I work at. So, you know, a small world. Thank you.
Thank you, Tocayo, for being here. What a great story, Judge. Any former elected official that I overlooked that maybe walked in at the last minute? Last chance. Anybody? Please, microphone.
Amber Gibbons, former judge of the 282nd Judicial District Court. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. You're running for office?
I'm running for Dallas County Criminal District Attorney.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Anybody else? Last chance. This is going to be fast, the next three. Okay, it's my privilege now to bring to the forum Ms. Maureen Alexander. She's a board-certified criminal law attorney with more than 25 years of courtroom experience and a lifelong commitment to fairness and justice. The daughter of Indian immigrants, her values of accountability and compassion have guided a distinguished career on both sides of the courtroom. A graduate of the University of Texas in Austin and SMU Graduate School of Law, Ms. Maureen began her career as an assistant district attorney in Dallas County before opening her own private practice in 2002. She has represented clients in state and federal courts in Texas with a focus on felony cases, child abuse matters, juvenile defense, CPS cases, and serving as guardian ad litem for children. In 2004, she earned board certification in criminal law from the Texas Board of Legal Specialization, an honor held by fewer than 10% of Texas attorneys. Known for integrity, experience, and dedication to indigent defense, Maureen Alexander is a trusted advocate and a strong source to serve as judge of criminal district court in the front. I beg you, Ms. Alexander.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning, and Happy New Year. My name is Maureen Alexander. I'm running for Criminal District Court number 5. It's a felony bench in Dallas County. The current judge is retiring at the end of the year, so it is an open seat, and I do have 2 other opponents. So it is a contested primary, and I'm so excited to be here to speak with y'all and to hopefully earn your vote in March. A little bit about me. I am also the daughter of immigrant parents. My parents came here from India in the 70s, and so I was the first American in my family. I'm the first one to grow up here, and as many of us know, being the child of immigrants, you see how your parents are treated. When your parents come here from a different country, and they speak differently, and they wear different clothes, and they cook different foods, the way that you are treated in schools, because people just do not understand how to accept and embrace other cultures, shapes you. So for me, that shaped me as a young child. I knew that, number 1, I would never, ever treat anyone like that. Number 2, I knew that I wanted to help and protect and defend justice for people, because when you see people being treated like that, it stirs something in you. So at a very young age, I knew I wanted to be in the criminal law world. I knew that I wanted to be a prosecutor, actually. I never dreamed as a child I would be running for judge, but I thought I was going to go to school and be a prosecutor. So I did that. I grew up in Houston, moved to Austin to go to college. And let me tell you something that I shared only with one person recently, and it kind of relates to, I think, when you're from a different country. Growing up, of course you love your heritage and your culture, but when people make fun of you or they make you feel bad, you tend to shrink away and want to just be like everyone else. So I just wanted to look like everybody else in my class. It was really only when I went to college in Austin, which is such a diverse city, that I really became proud of being an Indian American in the U.S. That multiculturalism really, and that school should be credited, because that is what I took away from it, besides loving Texas football. What I took away from it is this is a school that encourages everyone to be you. And you are beautiful, you are awesome just the way you are, whatever way you want to be. And so I will always be thankful for my education there because it wasn't necessarily all just a book education. It was a life education. And so I think because of that, I can embrace my culture a lot more. So after that, moved to Dallas, went to SMU Law School, and like I said, I wanted to be a prosecutor. That's what I thought I would do with my entire career. But at the time, again, for me, it wasn't in the cards. There was a hiring freeze at that time. And so I looked for jobs in the other field that I thought was interesting was employment law, because I thought I could help people in that field. So I worked for a civil law firm that was wanting to start an employment law section. And I think after 7 or 8 months, maybe 9 months, my boss could tell, this is not what you want to do. And so we sat down and he said, what is it that you really want to do? And I told him. And he said, well, my friend just took over just became elected the Dallas District Attorney. I can call him. And he did, and because of that phone call, because he saw how unhappy I was, and because of that phone call, I got to work for the best district attorney's office in Texas. And so it was my honor to be able to do that. And while I was there, I did every kind of trial you can imagine. DWI all the way up to robberies, rapes, murder, child death cases. And I was in the child abuse division, which deals with the most horrendous things that are done to children. And so while I was there, I started seeing the other side of what the justice system is. And at some point realized I can also help people doing the other side of the work, the other side of the courtroom. And so in 2002, I started my own law practice, and I have been doing criminal defense ever since. I run a private practice, and I've done well at doing it. Not only do I do felony cases in Dallas, but I do cases state and federal all over the Metroplex. I also do CPS cases when parents are being investigated. I've represented children that are involved in the CPS cases. I've represented children as guardian ad litem. And I've also represented a lot of juveniles because I do believe that if you can stop a pattern, you should. And so part of my, what I've learned in doing criminal defense is that we all end up in this system, or people end up in this system for different reasons. And as a lawyer, as the advocate for that person, it was my job to kind of try to figure out what is it that, why are they here? Is it because they don't have resources? Is it because they have a drug problem? Is it because there's mental illness? Why are they here? And how can we help them to where they don't end up back here? And so that's how I have focused my practice in criminal defense. And after doing both sides all this time, when an opportunity came for me to serve Dallas County in a different way, I feel like that's why I'm running for judge. And I made this decision last November, over Thanksgiving. I decided that when this opportunity came up, that this was something I really wanted to do. And so this whole year has been spent on this campaign, meeting voters, talking about these issues, trying to figure out what issues matter to you. As I believe Cynthia said it, and Judge Garza as well, as a judge, we have to follow the law. So whether I agree with the law or not, I have to follow it. But you can change how you treat people, because I have seen judges who treat people very poorly, and you can feel it. And as their attorney, or as an attorney in that courtroom, you're embarrassed because you feel like this is their experience of the criminal justice system. And nobody should feel like that. Everybody in the courtroom, whether they're there as a witness, a juror, a person accused, or a victim or victim's family, everybody should feel seen, heard, and that they had a fair experience. And so that is what I can bring, I believe, based on my background, my qualifications. I'm board certified in criminal law. There's not a lot of board certified attorneys, and I think in this entire campaign, I'm the only one in this race that's board certified. I also have done over 150 felony jury trials. So my experience and my background, I think, will prepare me to give a wonderful experience for Dallas County residents. And so I look forward to earning your vote and your support, and I welcome any questions anyone has.
Thank you for coming here with us today. My question to you is what you referenced in terms of being able to change the laws if we don't like them. We need to work together to elect a governor and legislature that will help us make that happen. What are you willing to commit to in terms of a coordinated campaign or working together with the candidates statewide and all the way down the slate to make sure that we can make that happen? Because as you said, you have to follow the law, but this is an opportunity for us to make a change for the future.
Well, as a judge or a judicial candidate, we cannot endorse any other candidate. But what we can do is we know the power of community. You can see it right here. So people do ask, who are you voting for? Who should I vote for? There's nothing that says I can't send out emails or text messages or make phone calls, but we cannot publicly endorse anyone. But yes, and that's that grassroots change, that's what we're doing. So I'm committed to doing that, and we'll do that as long as I have breath, because I do not agree with the current state of Texas. I don't agree with the current state of the U.S. And so that would be my commitment.
Any other questions?
Hi, I just appreciate something that you said about when you go into a court and the feeling that you get when you see judges that you know are just not there to really understand. And I appreciate that, because as a single mother of 6 children, and one of my worst experiences when my son was wrongly convicted of murder, that horrible feeling when you go and get into that trial and you see all the things that you know, not even being an attorney, that are wrong. And for the longest, I did not believe in the justice system. I hate it, and I've sat in plenty of courtrooms, and it does affect us all. And a community member, that's why I believe that it is so absolutely necessary that we elect people that will be for our communities. And one last thing, I want to thank Judge Garza. I don't know if you remember, but in 1992, didn't even know that I had gotten a case or a felony. I never signed papers. I didn't know what happened when I tried, and I wondered why there were times I couldn't get a job. Well, because there was something in my background that I had no idea that was still there. And then I had Angel Mata, I love her, really support me, and she represented me. And the prosecutor just was like, no, she's this, she's that. And I remember going into that courtroom and sitting there with trauma, because I've experienced plenty of trauma with the judicial system. And Judge Hector Garza was my judge, and he was fair. And that case was expunged from 1992. And it was just amazing. That was one of my best experiences that I've gotten with, representation and judges. But it is a hard feeling when you go into court and you just feel it. But I just wanted to thank her for the comments that she's talked about, and you definitely have my vote.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Any questions? Thank you very much, Ms. Alexander. You want to recognize yourself? She's going to give you the microphone right there. Right behind you.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you, everybody, and good morning. I am State District Court Judge Sandra Jackson. I am the District Judge of the 302nd Family District Court. We are a family court. We are up for re-election. We ask you for your support, and we thank you so much for allowing us to say good morning. Thank you so much to my colleagues and to each of us who is here. We know how intense this midterm cycle has been, and we all need your support. I need your support. I am District Judge Sandra Jackson is my name. We have some cards. Sylvia, where are you? She's got some cards back in the back, but certainly thank you so much. Family court is just as intense as criminal court is. And we really do need your support. We do a lot of work. We help families. We have a drug court. We have a specialty court. We oversee a lot of crises, children in child care, children in foster care. And we do the work every single day. We're there every single day. I've been doing it for the last 7.5 years. I've been a lawyer for the last 30 years. And I'm telling you now, you need the right people on the bench. And I am that person. And I want to thank you in advance. Sandra Jackson.
Thank you very much for your time and service to our county. And now it's my honor to bring to the forum Mr. DeMarcus Alford. He's running for county clerk. As you know, John Warren's been there quite some time. So we have DeMarcus, who is throwing his hat in the ring. He's highly recommended. He served in intergovernmental relations for Dallas ISD, advancing the district's legislative priorities at the Texas Capitol on behalf of students and educators. DeMarcus currently serves as Senior Manager of State Relations for one of Texas's largest transportation agencies, overseeing state legislative strategy and stakeholder engagement. He's committed to services beyond his profession. DeMarcus serves on the Mark Brown Scholarship Committee at Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church and is a graduate of the Campaign Activity Management Program, CAMP, and the Congressional Black Caucus Leadership Institute, and worked for A. Bernice Johnson for many years. Welcome to the table, DeMarcus.
Thank you, Hector. Appreciate you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Y'all sound energized. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you all for, one, allowing me to speak, and two, to be here. My name is DeMarcus Alford. I grew up in sunny South Dallas, to be exact, Distant Circle. And I've been involved in Dallas politics over the since I've been 13 years old. I started out volunteering at the Democratic Party when I was 13 on Peoria Avenue when Darlene Nguyen was the party chair at the time, who we miss dearly. And I think that I'm running for Dallas County Clerk. And some people, raise your hand if you know what the county clerk office does. I mean, see, that's a good thing. A lot of people don't know what the county clerk office actually do and what this office actually entails. But it's pretty much like official record keeper for the county. They have 2 county court of appeals, 11 misdemeanor courts, 5 county court of laws, and 3 probate courts. I started my career at the district clerk's office at the civil file desk, and I moved over to the magistrate court and Frank Crowley. Then I also moved over to the Dallas County Juvenile Department before going to work at the mayor and city council department at City Hall, and then moving over to Congresswoman Ada Bernice Johnson, serving her for the last 3 terms up until she passed away. And then moved over to Dallas ISD, intergovernmental relations, and now I currently serve as senior manager for state relations here at DART. So my responsibility, I have over 32 members, both from the Senate, both on the House side, and I keep a relationship with on behalf of the agency. But one of the things is, I'm not going to keep you long, I'm not going to be very brief, because I know y'all want to eat, y'all want to get out, things to do. So one of the things we want to make sure is that someone asked me earlier today, can the county clerk office come to the community? This office is going to be community centered and community focused. One of the things is that someone asked me when I walked in is that we have a lot of issues when it comes to property fraud. For too long, Senate Bill 16, prior to that, it was a general law that people actually used as it pertained to deed fraud, which is a hot issue when it comes to our senior citizens here in Dallas County. See, a lot of people are like, okay, well, we're going to prosecute people, but it was a kind of ambiguous law, so it was kind of, really a lot of red tape you had to jump to. But now, Senate Bill 16, thanks to Representative Chia, Senator Ross Weston, and others, and our delegation, Terry Medson, who also passed the bill, and now it's actually official law, which safeguards the people's property. Because one of the most vulnerable things people deal with is their property. And I think the county clerk is a deeds holder for a lot of properties here in Dallas County. And a lot of folks go online, they can go online, access people's property, forging people's names on their property, taking the property from them. By the time they try to get their property back, it's too late. Our second thing is taking the clerk's office to the community. One of the things that I want to make sure that we do within the applicable laws in Dallas County and the state of Texas is to make sure that we go to HOA meetings, these meetings like these settings, club organizations, to educate the public on what the county clerk office does and why it's important for people to know what's going on, and how we have services that they can sign up for to educate them, whether it be property deed alerts, whether it be things pertaining to some cases, but it's only so much things you can do with applicable law. You can't tell people certain things, but you can educate them on what the office does. And I think that's a critical piece to it all. Another thing is having a virtual clerk office. We do know that clerk county, a few years ago when COVID hit, it changed a lot how Dallas County operate and how effective it is in terms of making sure that people was able to access the court system during COVID. Nobody should have to travel all the way from California or from Houston, or if they're born in Dallas, Texas, to access vital records or information as it pertains to their senior citizens, or their elderly Asian parents, or the folks in Dallas County, period. That's just something they should be able to access online. When people say, oh, online, this is lots of going on Friday, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But it should be a secure way that people should be able to access files online, because we're changing. Our court should be innovative with technology. That's another thing that's changing. Some people might hear me say, I've been in Rutherford County 40 years, 50 years. I get that. But technology is actually changing. The court system is actually changing. Laws are changing every single year. With my policies experience, leading state relations at a transit agency, working at the city level, at the county level, the state level, to make sure that we have laws in place to make sure people are protected. And one of the things, if you notice with the court system, laws change every session, every other year. And we need to make sure to have somebody in that seat who's educated on the laws, who can then trigger those laws back down to the county clerk office, as well as streamline with other county departments. I've been endorsed by every county commissioner. You might say, well, you got a lot of county commissioners. That's fine, it's great, but some don't agree on every single thing. Because some don't like each other that's endorsing me. I have over 120 elected officials endorsements. People say, well, that's great now, but the main endorsement I want is endorsing other people. You're all voters here. You care about the county, you care about the direction of the county. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I have voted in every single Democratic primary since I've been 18. Never missed the election. Check my voter record. And I think that's very important. We have to make sure that we have people, one, who show up, who are truly invested. And one of the biggest things in our campaign is we're also bringing people together. We're utilizing, we're organizing, also in bringing together our party together. I'm not part of any kind of clique. I'm on Team Offer. If you want to be on Team Offer, come be a part of this team. Because what matters is that we're a party. After the primary is over with, we have to put down our swords and pick up our clipboards and educate the public why it's important, these elections are important. We can't be fighting each other. We have to educate the public. We expect people to vote for us and be educated on the issues. They vote and they trust us. But if they can't trust us, they might be expecting them to vote for us. So my call to you all guys is that after the primary, let's put down our swords. And let's pick up our clipboards, going door to door, educating the public on why these elections are important. Because aside from personal issues, what's important is that we turn out in November. Because we see what the Trump America is right now. So either you're going to vote or get on the sidelines. Either get in the game or get out of it. Or get in the game or get out the way. So my name is DeMarcus Alford. I'm running for Dallas County Clerk. I'm happy and proud to have the support of Commissioner Edward Garcia as well as Hector Flores. And I'm looking forward to earning each and every one of your support and your endorsement. I will stick around to talk to anyone who wants to speak to me about my platform, why I'm running, and why this race is important. It's down on the ballot, but it's still a critical part of the county government. Thank you all and have a great evening.
Do we have any questions? Microphone right there.
Hello, DeMarcus. Actually, I just wanted y'all to know we have another candidate who's come in. Can she say hello?
After the question. Of course.
Hi, I'm Allison Bridger Allen. I'm running to be your next district judge. I do have a question for you, DeMarcus, though.
I can't hear you.
Sorry. My name's Allison Bridger Allen. I'm running to be your next district judge. But I do have a question for DeMarcus. You know, we do a lot of clinics in churches in South Dallas to get people's homes protected and ready for them to pass it on to the next generation. Would you be able to have somebody from the clerk's department come and explain the processes at these clinics? Because I think that when we have people leave with a ladybird deed or a transfer on death deed, and we say, well, off you go to the records building and file it with the county clerk, they're like, question mark, question mark. And it would be really nice to have somebody there also to make that gentle handshake with.
Well, I'll say this, as long as it's in applicable laws in Dallas County, what I will say is that this office is going to be, if elected, this office will be community centered and community driven, and one of the things is taking the office to the public. Whether it be HOA meetings and things like that, whether it be at Concord, whether it be the expo, as far as the expos, having tables set up to educate the public and stuff like that, whether that pertains to that department. But yes, I'm most definitely in support of that.
Bueno, buenos días. Para todos los candidatos les voy a dar un consejo. Ustedes dicen que nosotros los hispanos no participamos en las elecciones. Y hay una razón muy grande. Primeramente, la propaganda siempre viene en inglés. Deben de ponerla bilingüe si quieren la participación de los hispanos. Porque a lo menos yo tengo 80 años y nunca he tratado de aprender inglés. Entiendo el 50%, pero lo demás no lo entiendo. Si ustedes quieren que la gente hispana, especialmente la gente de edad, que somos los que votamos, necesitan hacer la propaganda bilingüe.
Well, one of the things we're going to make sure
Repeat the question, though.
Repeat the question.
Dice que él va a hacer todo posible para que el pueblo de nosotros tenga la oportunidad de escucharlos y él va a tener a alguien a su disposición que esté ahí para servirlos.
Marcus, she's specifically referencing these, they should be bilingual or Spanish.
Yeah, no, we're in the process of working on that as well to make sure everything's is translated on those flyers. Another thing is too, we're gonna make sure that we have people in the office that reflects all our communities. It makes no sense when people call offices they can't. Oh, go ahead, Sharon. I'm sorry.
On that same issue, one of the things that impressed me about Jasmine Crockett was when you called her office and you said, I don't speak English, they would hand you over immediately to somebody who would speak Spanish and give the information. We are well aware that especially Dallas is now majority Hispanic. Yet the work pool of the government does not reflect that. My challenge to you is, will you reflect the
community
demographics of Dallas County, which at this point, I think it's like 48, 49 Hispanic, which outdoes all the rest of them. So my challenge to you is, we need that. Like she wants to do her issue when she goes to talk about transfer of property, there's going to be people there who will not understand unless you tell them in Spanish. Now that's time consuming, so we have to learn how to do it short.
To answer that question, one thing, everybody's showing voice and should be heard, and that's very important. And like I said privately, and I said publicly, I also told Dr. Garcia this as well. We're going to make sure that it reflects the county, that we have people who are there to translate as well too in those meetings. When I worked at Dallas ISD, we didn't go out, they didn't send anybody out. If we went into a community, they wanted to know if people had the opportunity to sign up, how many people would actually be there to make sure they had a translator there to translate what's being said, to make sure that everybody felt like they was heard. So yeah, that's on for sure on day one, that's one of the main things we're going to make sure we focus on, to make sure that the office reflects that, but also make sure that it trickles down to some of the community HOA meetings and community groups like this that we go to, and people actually understand what's going on. And also the newsletters that goes out also reflects that as well too.
Any other question?
Yes, Joe Morales, 12-year resident of Dallas County. Voter of every single Democratic Party during the past 20 years. One thing I was reading about the Dallas Morning News article about Mr. Warren's withdrawal. I heard about it briefly, but going from that, before the withdrawal, were you prepared to run for Dallas County clerk position? And the reason I'm asking that is because what preparation have you had, and what do you plan on doing same or different as Mr. Warren had been doing?
Well, here's what I will say. That's the question you want to talk to Mr. Warren about his withdrawal, why he withdrew. What I will say is this, is that he's been mentoring me for the last past 40 years. I've known Mr. Warren for the last past 8 years. He's been an innovative when it comes to the county clerk's office. He's changed how the court operates in terms of his office operates with the courts and being innovative with those county court laws as well as those criminal courts and court of appeals. I think one of the things that's prepared me as well as a policy level, working for Congressman Johnson, seeing how she activated and was inside the community. I think those are one of the biggest things. And two, and from a policy standpoint, you know, when you go into these roles, people have to say they've been there 40 years, that's great. But we're talking about the next 10 to 15 to 20 years where we're going to see ourselves at a kind of put along. When Mr. Warren took office in 2007, January 2007, his office is completely paper. Prior to the mandate in 2010, I believe, but right before 2010, 2011, his office already had one paperless already. It was already 3 years ahead, 3 years ahead prior to the mandate that they had to go to electronic filing with the courts. So I think at the end of the day, it's about making sure. I've been strongly prepared. I worked on the Tulish Congressman Eddie Bernice Johnson. I've been heavily involved with the community. I work now at DART, leading state relations. I mean, from setting policy and agenda for one of the large transit agencies. I think one of the things is the difference between having experience as well, but also having policy experience too. Because when laws change, judges are going to trust the fact, not only the judges, but at the end of the day that you don't do your job when these laws change. Not them telling you, okay, how you should do X, Y, and Z on this policy because this is what happened. But I think being educated on both fronts, on how to be efficient, but also how to run an effective office in the community. But also, like I said again, like the Sheriff Valdez actually brought up the point, is making sure that the community feel represented and that we have representation at these HOA meetings, any meetings that we have without the county, because we're going to be community focused and community led with the county clerk's office.
And DeMarcus, as soon as you're elected, perhaps Lupe and I and our community group will get together and talk about these issues to see how we can work them out. I know we have a very progressive county administration. I think we ought to be sitting at the table, and given the racial and ethnic makeup of this county, it's absolutely necessary for us to talk about this issue. But thank you so very much for being with us today. Thank you. And now, one of my old buddies for many years, Bill Benson, has been around doing the work of the Lord, being a teacher, a social worker, you name it, he's done it. And he has always his hands on a lot of issues in our community, Hispanic and otherwise, African American and the poor. And so, Ray, you want to give us a
I'm just going to stand behind it.
Oh, I want you to well, a little bit like the work that's in particular before.
Okay. So Bill is someone who served as a school teacher at Quintanilla Middle School. When I first met him, he was a computer teacher over there. And he did about 14 years there at Quintanilla. But he developed a special project. It's unique, something that I had not seen before. It called for students to write letters about what their goals and objectives for themselves were going to be. And then we ended up partnering with him to get a big gun safe, it's what it is, but it's a vault, put it up in the front door. As soon as you walked into Quintanilla, that's the first thing you saw. And in that letter, we put letters from those students with their goals and objectives for themselves. That was creative, but then 10 years later, as we saved those in the vault, we invited those students back to a class reunion. That involved a lot of challenges to those students and families to give back to their community, to get involved in their schools, and so much more. I'm going to let him now talk about how that project has evolved. It's got a different name, and when he left the school, rather than allowing the project to die when he left, we adopted it at the LULAC National Education Service Center as a project, and we've grown it so that it now encompasses many other DISD and now soon non-DISD schools as well. So he's got a lot to be proud of. We need some help, volunteers, because he's been leading it as a volunteer effort. We've had little to no funding, but we're going to be working to try to change that. So I'm going to reference the QR codes I left with you, and we'll talk more about that shortly after he talks.
And he is the hero from Deaf Smith County, population 15,000.
Deaf Smith County is 400 square miles bigger than Rhode Island. So, you know, it's big, wide open spaces. But anyhow, no, I left F. Smith County in '67, came to Dallas for college, and here I am. I haven't left. So Dallas has got a lot. I really like it. This project especially would change Irma Rangel. South Oak Cliff took the project that Ray has helped redesign since 2011. He has been managing and helping this project grow and improve since 2011. It was started in 2005. Originally, it took Quintanilla 10 years to become the highest school effectiveness indices, middle school in the whole city. The good news is now with Ray's guidance and the changes we've done, we can take a failing middle school, or high school, or elementary school, and in 1 year make them the best. And that may sound unusual, but it's true and it's in the data. Go to studentmotivation.org and you can see where we go to the research section and it documents all of this. The project is very simple and it doesn't cost anything except paper and envelopes and a little bit of volunteer time, but not very much. So basically, the paper I put on your table, it is about the high school project. And it describes it because that is the simplest one to describe. But this project actually starts with 3-year-olds. In other words, if you have a child in your family, a child, a grandchild, a niece, or a nephew between the age of 3 and or 18 and anywhere in the middle, this project can be done at your child's middle school, and every single year you will be asked to write a letter to your child. And imagine, I'm a grandparent and I know how I feel about this. You're writing a letter to your child. Pretend the child's a 3-year-old. You're going to tell them, these are my dreams for you, and here's a story from my life that I want you to know. So those are the 2 things that go into every single letter you write your child from the age of 3 to 18. Imagine the collection of letters. Imagine the stories you will document. Imagine the history your child will have that will not die with you. It'll be written and they can pass it on to their great-grandchildren. I mean, this is really a project that's much bigger than improving a school to be the highest achieving school in the city. South Oak Cliff started the project, the new and improved project that Ray helped us develop. We started there in 23-24. In 23, South Oak Cliff for 7 years had the school effectiveness indices score that was the 4th from the bottom of all the high schools in Dallas. It was not doing very well. In 1 year, out of the 22 comprehensive high schools, it went from 19th place to 3rd place in 1 year. And that year, the only thing they did is they had every single student write a letter to themselves about their plans for their own life. And that's how much the achievement in the school changed. 19th place to 3rd place. Well, the second year, we added the second component, which is really the most important. We had each child write a letter to each parent separately mom, separately dad. My machine is going crazy. But basically, they write mom, they write dad, they write grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, grandparents, asking for a letter. Write me a letter and tell me your dreams for me, and tell me a story from your life that you want me to know, because those are my roots too. So the kids would get these letters, and it just worked out beautifully. That year, the first year when they improved, South Oak Cliff went up 9.5 points, the biggest increase in school effectiveness scores in the whole city. That was in 24. In 25, when they got these letters from mom and dad, only about half the kids in the school wrote letters. So it wasn't universal. But that year, they improved another 9.8 points till they got a school effectiveness indices score of 63.8, which was the highest in the city, even higher than Irma Raquel, higher than every magnet school in the city, higher than every choice school in the city. Now this is an improvement measurement, a value-added measurement. In other words, you've got to keep it high every year to keep going up. And so they did it 2 years in a row. This year, if we can get the rest of those kids to, we're going to keep going up. In other words, this is a project that gets your school to improve. In the schools we've had this project, pregnancy rates have gone down, fighting goes down, behaviors improve, kids become different kids because they've got goals and they're developing their roots. Their self-confidence improves. We have many people involved in the criminal justice system. The crime rate goes down. When kids don't fight as much, there aren't as many crimes. A lot of positive things will happen. And we need to be doing this. Remember, it doesn't cost anything unless you don't do it. And we know what that's costing us. Millions every year. So we need to be doing it. It's a very simple project. You don't need to remember my name and vote for me, but you can remember studentmotivation.org. That's the website. And if you happen to be affluent and want to encourage a school, challenge a school. Tell them for their first year, you'll give them $10 for every letter a child puts together. The letters go into a box like this that's in the homeroom of every school. And basically, when the children collect these letters, they're immediately valuable. So we tell them, you don't have to send those letters to school. Go to the library, get a copy, and just send a copy to school. You'll probably want to keep grandma's letter at home and not let that one out of your sight. So send the letters to school. At school, the teacher has you self-address an envelope, put all the letters in the envelope, and then each student writes a letter to themselves about their own goals and each letter they've received and their thoughts about it and what they're planning for their own lives. And that letter also goes in the envelope. And so, I mean, it's very, very important, very important. And they go into a box like this in the homeroom of each student, and they set near the flag. So every morning when the kid does their Pledge of Allegiance, they're looking at the flag and they're looking at the box, and they know mom's letter is in that box. And they might be reminded of what mom said. And you do that every day, and then at the end of the school year, those letters go home with every student. They go home, so they read them over the summer and prepare to write new letters the next year. Can you see how powerful this would be? Happening every single year, only costing paper and envelopes. I mean, it's the best investment we can make in the lives of our children for probably the most valuable pieces of paper they will have.
Big round of applause for Phil because he's been doing this as a volunteer. The reason we're doing this is because we know we're going to have to get people in here. He can't be with us forever, so we're planning for that. Okay, there's a question.
Bill,
Just a second. Another thing I'd like to really give you credit for, I do recall that when we were trying to redistrict the city council districts, we had to go to Mike Rollins, and of course he didn't like the fact that you were able to create 4 Hispanic districts, and they said it was impossible. As a statistician and analyst, he was able to actually work out a redistricting plan that actually gave us the actual representation we deserve. Not that they voted it on, but at least it was a start for the next go around.
But we can show it can be done.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to thank you personally for the kind of work you did. I know he was the only white guy in our group. And so Mike Wilder said, "What are you doing here?" I told him, "The guy that's writing our districts, that's why he's there, because he knows exactly what he can do with a pen and paper." So thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Of course, Bill, Joe Wallace, current middle school math teacher, 28 years out. I love the project you've been doing. I love all the analytics that you put on Facebook. I love looking at all information. A couple of questions. Number one, regarding South Oak Cliff, is there correlation between the Great Grove and the new South Oak Cliff High School building?
Oh, absolutely.
No, sorry. That's the first question. But second question is, it's 2025, and just like Mr. Howard was talking about, think about the next 10, 15 years, 20 years, it won't be here forever. Have you been doing videos of the studentmotivation.org videos and AI, whatever, presentations for the kids, so they're putting it into the cloud, so that 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, it's all in the cloud of the videos of the same thing they're doing on paper, so they're going together?
Yes.
And those are two questions.
We're trying to capture all of that on the website as we can. Like there's supposed to be a video here today from this, and I may cut it and put it on the website so people can hear some of this. I mean, the project is designed to be simple. In other words, because we're going to do it every year from the age of 3. Obviously, grandparents writing a letter to a 3-year-old, their obligation is they sit down with that 3-year-old and read their letter to them. What grandparent wouldn't want to do that? You read your letter to your 3-year-old grandchild and explain to them what it means. And you can see that kid's eyes opening up and they're learning new stuff. And then you do it when they're 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. When they're 3rd graders, that's when they start to write and read their own letters. But you're still reading and talking about the letter you write to your child. And I mean, this will change everything for our children. And for us. You can see it will change our relationship with our children.
No, stop open.
And he's doing it as a volunteer, okay?
No, was there a correlation between the new building?
Oh, yes. I was with the group that fought for that building. You and I both know new buildings count. And that's why this new bond election they're running has to pass. The best investment we can make in our children, next to these letters, and the letters don't cost anything, is the buildings, and they're kind of expensive.
And the football state championships.
Oh, yes, and South Oak Cliff has got another, their 3rd state championship in 5 years. Is that not fantastic? And so in 2025, they got the state football championship and the Dallas academic championship.
There you go.
Thank you, Bill. And we've also got statistics for other campuses, so you can see. So thank you again, and I'll give it back to Mr. Flores.
I'm remiss in that I did not recognize my good friend Rendell Bryant, who's the chairman of the Board of Guard. Would you please stand up and take a bow? Here's the chairman of the Guard Board, everybody.
And was with you on redistricting.
You're probably the youngest one, too.
Youngest ever, and been with you on redistricting, too.
All the time. Thank you so very much for being here. And now we have this for Angel Aguilar, who's a candidate for Dallas County Council Precinct number 1. He wants to be the first Mexican-born American to serve in the role. He's a naturalized U.S. citizen who came to the United States at age 5 with his parents and 10 siblings and grew up in West Dallas. I bring to you Angel Aguilar.
Thank you. Buenos días. Yo me llamo Ángel Aguilar y como muchos de ustedes vine aquí cuando tenía 5 años. Mi papá y mi mamá los trajo a mí y mis 10 hermanos y hermanas a los Estados Unidos a darnos una vida mejor a todos. Ellos sacrificaron todo lo que tenían, sus familias, sus mamás y sus hermanos para que nosotros tengamos una mejor vida. Por eso estoy ahorita. Yo nací aquí, crecí en West Dallas, bien pobre, en una casa de 2 cuartos, pero mi sueño siempre era ser un policía. Yo me metí a la escuela, yo pagué todo solo y me hice un policía. Y ahorita que soy policía, quiero ser un constable para el área de South Oak Cliff, de South Dallas. South Dallas County. So por eso estoy corriendo para ser constable de ahí. My name is Angel Aguilar. I grew up in West Dallas. My parents brought me here when I was 5 years old. Myself and my 10 siblings, we grew up very poor. We didn't have much, but I have that energy to become something bigger and better. Growing up in my community, you had two choices. You graduated high school, you could work a minimum wage job in a warehouse or factory somewhere, or if you dropped out and work construction. I wanted to change them barriers and just give our family and our siblings another option. Like Judge said, if they could see it, they could do it. So I became the first in my family to graduate high school, the first to actually get an associate's degree in automotives. Yes, automotive, because I like working on cars. And then the second to actually get a criminal justice, get a bachelor's in criminal justice. So being the second means that my siblings seeing that I could do it, so they became, one of them became the first one. So that's good. Most of them, like this young kids here, they you succeed in life, they're going to try it, but they have to see it first. So that's the reason I'm doing this now. I'm going to be the first Mexican-born constable if I get elected in Precinct 1 history, but I don't want to be the last. I want these young kids to grow up and see change in our future, and hopefully inspire them to do something. Go out and vote, go out and run for something, because we need more representation in this community in Dallas County. Like many of you guys, I'm not a politician, I'm just a neighbor. So I'm going to keep my speech very short. I just want to encourage this young community to go out, vote, and to run for something. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Aguilar? There's got to be one out there somewhere. Nobody? Hey, you looked out. All right. And now it is a great honor to bring to the forum Ms. Barbara Mallory Caraway. Ms. Barbara Mallory Caraway has been a city councilwoman at one time. Were you a state rep also? A state rep, anyway. The beautiful Barbara Mallory Caraway is throwing her hat in the ring for Congress, number 30. So let's hear it.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Good morning. I am Barbara Mallory Caraway, and first of all, I'd like to thank you for staying to hear all of the candidates. That's very important. That lets me know that the issues that you're facing in our country, that you're very, very interested and engaged to make sure that we can move on. I am Barbara Mallory Caraway. I am running for Congress in District 30. I want you to know that I am very committed. I am very intentional. I have been running for this seat before. I am the only candidate in this race, District 30, that has legislative experience. And that's very important because you see what's going on in our country, not only nationally, but what we do nationally affects what happens locally as well as in our world. The reason I'm running for Congress District 30, as indicated, I served on the Dallas City Council for 8 years. I was term limited. I served in the Texas House of Representatives, and I was sitting at my desk one day, and I said, I need to be doing better things. Now, with what I did, which people were just shocked about, I challenged at that time a 26-year incumbent. She was very entrenched in the community and very respected. I challenged Ada Bernice Johnson because back then I even ran commercials to say that our democracy was at risk. I could see it then because people were not being included. We still had some of the same issues that we are even talking about today, immigration, which I then and now support a comprehensive immigration program. We had an issue with jobs, with education, with what we call equality. And so I put my name in the hat, and I've been faithful and consistent for running for this position. And so as we move forward, what is it that Barbara Mallory stands for and what does she work for? I am very sincere about representing the servant. I've always called myself a public servant. because that's what I do. I serve the people that elect me. On the Dallas City Council, and I've heard several people refer to West Dallas, I had to oversee one of the most cautious and tumultuous times in our city's history. I was tasked with implementing what was then the Walker Consent Decree. And the Walker Consent Decree came out of the fact that West Dallas had been discriminated against, particularly through the Dallas Housing Authority. But then Mayor Mitch Strauss intervened to say that there was discrimination, and so guess what? The city of Dallas was enjoined in that lawsuit. And so I was the chair of the Transportation Committee. I implemented the city of Dallas Teen Court and the commission, the youth commission, and I look forward to working for you on that. Youth have always been one of my platforms because they are our future. When I was at the state, I created the Career Futures Initiative. And what that initiative did, many of us have the opportunity for our young people to work in jobs, and that's good, but not on the corporate level. So it gave me an opportunity to partner with businesses to allow our students, 16 and older, graduating, to be hired by corporations during the summer. Now, we have other issues on the federal level. That is my history of implementing and working on behalf of the state legislature to lower energy costs. I was one of the first to bring the attention of these red light cameras because I received a ticket and I didn't even know that the law was on the board, on the books. But however, when after that introduction, and it did get it for the first session, when I ran for this office back in 2012, it had not yet been implemented. It took a couple of sessions for someone else to file that bill, and they eventually eliminated the red light cameras, which were buying you, and you didn't know you had to go a certain and stop. So I look forward to working for people for the best education system, the best transportation system, and the best of what the U.S. Constitution offers. And that is the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so based on that principle is what I will be working for, what I have always stood for, and what I look forward to working for you. I'm originally from Amarillo, Texas. I am the fifth of 8 children. I have my older sister Bernadine stepped over here with me today. I actually got started in politics with my brother, the Reverend Dr. Lynn Mims, who was very active here in Dallas politics. I worked for Heaven 97 KHM radio station at the time, which gave me the opportunity to be exposed to the voters, and particularly to the faith-based community of which I am a member of Camp Wisdom United Methodist Church. I ran for city council after the lawsuit that was filed by Martin Crenshaw and Ward Williams for single-member districts. And I represented District 6, which is now totally different from what it was when I served. As you know, now as I embark upon my race for Congress, is that this is an open seat. It's an open seat because, as you know, the Republicans in August redrew the lines for the Texas congressional districts. District 30 now is no longer includes West Dallas. District 30's northern line is now I-30 to the north. To the east, it is what they call Dolphin Road in South Dallas. It still includes Joppa, but it includes Lancaster, Cedar Hill, Duncanville, DeSoto, Glen Heights, and now including under these new lines, parts of Arlington and Grand Prairie has always had a slither, but Arlington over at 360 all the way to Park Road, and to the south, almost to the borders of Mansfield. So we have about 200 additional people, residents, who are now in District 30 that were not there in the last election cycle. Lovefield is no longer in the district. Elm Thicket or North Park is no longer in the district. That is now in District 33. So when we push down to the south to include those suburbs and Arlington and still parts of Grand Prairie, we have a lot of area to coverage because of this new district. If you live in District 30, I am asking for your support. I'm asking for your vote. and I'm asking to spread the word. Again, I am Barbara Mallory Caraway. I'm the only candidate in this race with legislative experience. I can hit the ground running. I'm not a political novice. So I ask for your support, and I will now entertain any questions that you may have.
Do we have any questions of Ms. Caraway? Go ahead, the microphone, please.
So, I haven't looked at the district, I haven't looked at the 30 candidates, and I'm not 30, but how do you differ from the other 30 candidates? What are the major significant differences?
Well, it's very clear that none of the candidates have legislative experience, not the ground roots experience that I have. So you need someone who knows the system, knows how to work it, and can hit the ground running. And you'll have to have an opportunity to talk to those other candidates. So I'm here and asking you for my support, for your support to elect me. But it is very clear that they have no legislative experience.
Any other questions? Thank you so very much for joining us this morning. Glad to see you again. Items that we're going to be speaking about. First of all, Jasmine, do you have any reports from the District County Commissioners Court? Behind you, the microphone. I know that Dr. Garcia couldn't be here today and Rodrigo. They're out of
Yes,
town.
unfortunately she wasn't able to be here, but everybody should have received her district newsletter with all the latest updates from the last month's worth of work and resources available for all the community, whether your documented status does not matter. Everything that you'll see in our district court guide is available for you regardless. Additionally, right now we are in high recruitment mode for poll workers. So if you know a registered voter who's interested in participating, especially with the upcoming primary elections, we're still, it's an unknown whether it's going to be precinct level voting or countywide voting, and the scenarios are going to change in the next few days. So with that, there's going to be a lot of need for poll workers. If you're interested, there's a QR code on that newsletter. Feel free to submit a form. You can also just come talk to me directly right now or after this is over, and I'm happy to share more information.
Yes, one other thing, be sure and convey to Domingo and Elba there was a hell of a Christmas party they threw.
It was amazing.
Here in
Thank
West,
you.
it was a beautiful party that we were all able to socialize. Thanks a lot for everything. And perhaps you might want to also say, you might not get a chance to talk to Dr. Garcia, but some of the comments that Lupe has made, and also with the Marcus about maybe into the future we can come up with a committee of the community to talk about these things so we can work on a path or maybe some kind of a concept so we can improve that. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. Now, I also wanted to put on the spot my buddy Randall Bryan, if he wants to tell us anything about DART and what he's doing. I don't know if you've seen it, but he's been on the rails, in the rails, all over the system, and really doing a great job, Randall. So you want to, any good words? Here's the chairman of the board of DART, this young man.
Good morning, everyone. And this is completely impromptu, so I didn't have anything prepared. But I will say that just with the slate of candidates we have here, the conversations that we've heard today, we are in the fight of our lives on all fronts. What the underlying thing that I'm seeing right now is anything that starts with public is under attack. Public housing, public assistance, public food assistance, and public transportation fits right within this theme that Republicans have a plan, right? And that tells us what we need to do is come up with our own plan. And so, as you may have seen, 12 hours after I became the chair of the DART board on October 28th, the very next day, 4 cities called for withdrawal elections. That's close to about 30% of our current configuration or current population and borders of our transit authority. And so, some people may say, oh, well, it's Highland Park residents or it's Plano residents. It's also job connections for people in this room and people that we know that may not do everything within the city of Dallas. And so That's why Regional Transit Authority is so important. DART is the largest one in Texas. It's one of the largest ones in the country. It's almost a $2 billion annual budget that we are responsible for. And so I'm hopeful that we can use this time between now and March the 18th. That's kind of our deadline to solve these problems. I haven't even been on the board for 2 years now, and of course was named chair. And so a lot of these problems kind of predate me, which is good and bad because I don't carry a lot of the bad blood that's been going on for so long. I have kind of a clean slate to try to work and solve these problems. But at the end of the day, I'm a Dallas appointee. And the people that I respond to and have to be responsible for are the City of Dallas residents, and we can't do anything that helps solve the issues for others that displaces the work and the people that sit me down to represent them. So I remain hopeful over the next two months. To those of you all that are called by faith, pray for us. And if you know anyone in those cities, of course, we are a municipality or a quasi-municipality, so I can't say vote for or against anything as an official capacity, but you all know what's right, and if you know people in those cities, please be contacting them, contact their council members to ask to rescind these elections. Thank you. Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Amanda. Now, we have a special report by Francis Chorizo and Jerome Garza, who are involved in the, believe it or not, there's such a thing as a silver-haired legislature, but you gotta have hair. Obviously, I don't qualify. So they're gonna give us a little report, and then we have one other person who's gonna address it, Francis.
Muy buenos días and very, very good morning and Happy New Year. Feliz Año Nuevo. May it be the most prosperous year you have ever had, that we have had. That goes for all of us. The Texas Silver-Haired Legislature, very simply, is to advocate for laws to improve the lives of older Texans. If you are not an older adult, you have a loved one or several loved ones that are. Texas is very behind in protecting senior citizens. I are one. Okay, Jerome, I still think of when I used to be taller than him, but he is now also eligible to serve on the Texas Silver-Haired Legislature. We simply advocate for laws to protect older adults. Texas is so behind that we have a lot of work to do. We've heard about laws and enacting laws and what it takes to create a law. It's not an easy or a quick process. The Texas Silver-Haired Legislature initiates resolutions, does the research to advocate for specific laws. We have a structure. We have representatives from all over the state of Texas. Jerome Garza and I happen to represent 2 of the 5 out of Dallas County right now. But it is a statewide body. We take those resolutions, we take them to the elected state representatives and state senators to get them to support and adopt those resolutions and put them into bills, proposed bills. And those are the ones that they propose in this next legislative session. We know in Texas it's only every 2 years. Then we advocate for those bills to be voted on by the other elected officials to vote for and put into laws. I happen to serve on the Human Services Committee and the Communications Committee. Which ones do you serve on, Jerome?
The Rural Committee, Rural and City Committee.
Very good. It's a lot of work, folks. It's not an easy thing to do, but Jerome and I have a lot of experience in community affairs and have worked for all of our lives to make the world a better place to live. If you remember that the challenges that we've had, I'll give you one example. In the early 70s, we were fighting everybody under the sun to enact bilingual education in the Dallas ISD. And we had tremendous opposition. Well, we take it for granted now. And in Texas, we've been spending a lot of time this morning talking about the need for these candidates to publish their material in Spanish and in English. Well, don't you think it's way past time that we remind people that Texas is a bilingual state and everybody should be bilingual? Okay, so maybe it's pie in the sky, but if we don't fight for it, it won't happen. I get so tired of people saying, speak English. And now, who is working to study Spanish so that they can make more money? Yeah, we, Latinos, Chicanos, Mexican Americans, we grow up being bilingual and they don't give us credit. They make us think we're stupid because we don't speak English as well as they do. Well, I'm sorry, but we are doubly intelligent because we speak 2 languages and you only speak 1. Okay, now that is one personal issue that I have as Francis Rizzo. Do you have any personal ones, Drew?
I don't have a personal issue. I just want to thank State Representative Mesa for her work in senior citizens. And also, he's not here, but Senator West passed a bill that funds Alzheimer's, which helps a lot of our grandparents, your parents, and other people. So when you see Senator West, say thank you for funding Alzheimer's.
And it started with the Texas Silverhair Legislature.
And he did start with the Silverhair Legislature that provided him much of the data so that he did move forward. So please do that.
Sir, if you actively speak